What's up, my Yu-Gi Bros? I'm your host, the one, the only, the RJB0. Welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! And Business Casual. So, the organization just released a brief, to which I will link you in the description below, which says that the effect for the Burning Abyss tuner that has been circulated around the internet is most likely a total fake. Now, that seems at first like a huge revelation, like Burning Abyss suddenly isn't quite as great a deck anymore, but we do know already that Burning Abyss is going to get a tuner, and we know that that tuner is going to be good, and more importantly, we know that they have Virgil already, and we know that Virgil has the kind of effect that was the last effect that Burning Abyss needed to be basically a perfect deck, because they had amazing amounts of consistency, they had pluses, they had recycling ability, they had fairly large monsters before. What they needed was ignition removal. They had trap removal, but they needed a monster that could, in your main phase, as soon as you get it, a card that you could immediately use to remove a card from either your opponent's graveyard or from their field. And so Virgil basically did everything it needed to do. All they need is a tuner with a decent effect, and we know, since all of the other Burning Abyss monsters so far have gotten decent effects, that this monster is going to be pretty darn good. So the fact that it may not be quite as broke as the rest of the cards that Burning Abyss is going to be getting, it doesn't make that much of a difference. But the real takeaway from this is that with all of the really cool support for all these different archetypes coming out in the next challengers, Shaddolls are looking pretty lackluster. Now, don't get me wrong, Shaddolls is an amazing card, but the thing about the Shaddolls is it's a piece of extra deck support, and your extra deck is only as good as your main deck. So if a bunch of decks are getting support that is either from the main deck or supports the main deck, for instance, Triveil supports the main deck from the extra deck, but Satellar Knights are also getting Procyon and Sirius, which are two fairly amazing cards for the main deck. Burning Abyss are getting a tuner in Virgil, and Virgil was basically the last kind of monster that the deck needed. The deck basically had the perfect main deck already, so they didn't need any more main deck support aside from the tuner to be able to go into Virgil. So Virgil is kind of an exception to that. Clifford is getting amazing support. Yang Zing is getting pretty good support. Shaddolls are only getting Shekinaga, because we already have Hound, and Hound is already barely making a difference to the deck. So Shaddolls are getting nothing for the main deck, and Shekinaga doesn't really support the main deck. So Shaddolls are not getting any new main deck support, or any extra deck support that supports the main deck. So that's already a problem, but we really know that's going to really hurt Shaddolls is the fact that they are losing two of their best cards on this ban list. Both Soul Charge and Super Poly are getting limited this format, and that is huge for them, because the one thing their main deck had going for them was freaking amazing Soul Charge plays. And if their Soul Charge goes to 1, and their Super Poly goes to 1, which is another really good card for the main deck that allows them to go into their fusions really easily, the deck basically has nothing left. What they needed, especially after this ban list, was a set of main deck support that could make up for the fact that they were going to lose Soul Charge and Super Poly, and that could keep up with the rest of the support that other archetypes are getting. So Shaddolls are getting nothing from this set. I think that Shaddolls are just basically going to disappear from the format until Secret of Evolution comes out, because we know that they're getting more support from Secret of Evolution, which means that we may actually get some decent main deck support for the deck. But barring new support, and barring a good variant for Shaddolls, maybe possibly Shadow Plant, since it gives them new extra deck plays, and it gives them fodder for their fusions and things like that, that is definitely a possibility. But unless a new engine for the deck, or a new variant for the deck, comes out in the near future, becomes popular in the near future, I think that we are going to see Shaddolls all but disappear from the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So that is my thought on the support coming from the next challengers. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. If you did, let me know why in the comment section below. And of course, subscribe for more decks, discussion, analysis, and general Yu-Gi-Oh! Shenanigans. I'm your host, the one, the only, the RJB0, and I got a jet. See ya!